So for today, instead of doing the normal intro that we usually do, why don't we just show the wonderful clips again that we're going to be seeing in the next couple of minutes. As I say sarcastically, because I already know that somehow, some way, it's going to happen, despite the fact that it's sarcastically said right here, right now. Words. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Music Perspective, the only show on the planet that is as weird as the creator itself, which is good. I like my brand to be as weird as I keep my images, but that's beside the point. Today we're going over two rock bands in a certain different, how to put this, a different branch of the rock family. But in order to state the differences, let me go over the favoritism first before I go into the other favoritism. I can't really divulge into which one I mean the other way, but fuck it, whatever. Enter in Mess Music. To kick off stuff for the favoritism, let's go over to Mess Music, ran by my younger sibling of Maddie Green. Now when I say that for the favoritism, you guys should already see this for where it's coming from. It's a family sort of favoritism. But to be honest, the way I found out about his music was just from, I wanted to find someone that would be my best friend, who I didn't know would be my little brother. But here we are today. But that's where the favoritism ends, and let's just get straight to the nitty fucking gritty about his musical sound of metal and or story rock. Why do I say story rock? Well, kind of like how I say about most music, there are various different genres that, although have stuff involving said genre of rock, hip-hop, R&B, country, jazz, blues, bluegrass, and so forth and so on, there's always a variation of it that goes into different branches of it, such as the various subgenres that make up said genre. Storytelling rock is basically part of the same genre as, say, indie or alternative, which is kind of like in the midway, but also can be merged with any other part of rock and roll, whether it be metal, hard rock, alternative rock, indie rock, so forth and so on of the same branch. And Maddie's whole sound with Mess Music and whatever else in production that he does in total is basically that in its format. It is pure blown excitement and entertainment from start to finish. And from what I can tell you guys from all the songs I've heard from him, from Judgment, Eternal, Accept the Fell, and so forth and so on, along with the EP of a story about depression rising from the ranks into a different journey of itself, it is, quite frankly, a phenomenal sound made by Mess Music itself. Don't believe me? Here's a little bit from the EP from one of my favorite songs from it. By God, I could listen to the EP and the entire music on Spotify all day long. And probably you guys could too if you guys are either fans or want to hear something a little bit different. But that's enough of waxing the poetics about my own little brother's sound. Let's go into the second subject that is at the same time favoritism, but at the same time a different kind that's non-family related.
I'm down, but you know I'm not out. I got another round. Second wind and it's picking me up right off the ground.
Swinging from one branch to the other, haha, Tarzan joke. We then go into Nathan Sharp, aka Nate Wants to Battle. Now, would love to go into a full-blown history with you guys about all the things I know about Nate because I'm a super fan. But to be honest, I don't really know that much about Nate. I fell into him a few years ago, been a fan ever since. So my entire thing about how Nate's history is as dirty and as convoluted as the creation of Muck in Pokemon. That is a reference to him being a full-blown PokeTuber from years ago, and what kind of got him on a full-blown start to success in general on YouTube. In general, he's been born for success all of his life, apparently. Kind of boring. So, him as a musician, though, since I don't know about him personally, or his full-blown musical history. Honestly, I didn't really know what to make about Nate's sound from all the albums I heard from him, like Genesis or Thanks for the Covers. At least I think it's covers. But I knew for the moment I heard this latest album he came out with this year that I was going to definitely stay a fan of his for a long, long time, which was Sandcastle Kingdoms. Now, I have no real words to say on the matter of the album without really critiquing it, and there is a review about it in the works. But I will say this, for all the alternative rock songs I've heard in the 2010s, this is probably one of the most beautifully written albums I've heard in a long time from an alternative rock band. Even if it has certain elements of other rock genres, it still gives that whole classical feel of someone that is delving more into their soul than any other alternative band has done. I'm looking at you, Paramore. So, from just that standpoint, he should probably have one of the greatest sounds known to man, right? Yeah, kind of. It's very confusing. On one hand, Nate's entire sound is very unique. It has a certain little flair for itself to kind of give it like a hero on the mic, basically, where you can tell that's basically a protagonist in music trying to banish out all the darkness and the depression that kind of circles around the fans to give a euphoric glow to anything that kind of touches its pathway. However, it's kind of in a small regard to other bands that I've kind of come up with in years prior that kind of, I don't know how to put this. Like, it hurts me to say this, and I'm a fan, so imagine how a soulless person would just do this with ease. Okay, so it's kind of like this. Although Nate's sound is good, there are certain tracks that he does that I'm like, it doesn't feel like a complete sound. Like, yeah, it's beautiful, yeah, it's well crafted, but at the same time I'm like, could have been done by a different band instead of what I keep hearing that shows the full-blown power and veracity that comes from Nate's voice. And again, this is basically notes that I've taken before the full-blown album of Sandcastle Kingdoms came out, so all my opinions from the old script are subjective. How I feel about him now, I'll get into during the review. Regardless, though, Nate's entire sound in general for the alternative rock to just rock genre is a well-crafted balance of fresh, new, but old and vintage. It's like a perfect marriage between the rock gods and Apollo basically went down and said, "Hey, Nate, you want some talent?" He was like, "Do I?" And then all of a sudden, Nate Wants to Battle was born. So, how are we just gonna go into the whole thing that do for the conclusion? Awkward segue away! So, from all the examples I placed for you guys for both the subjects of today's video, you're probably all wondering what I'm gonna say how they're alike, because you're gonna be like, they're both part of the same branch of music of rock, so they're obviously going to be alike, right? You'd think so, but here's where people kind of find the different sort of aspects to it that make it not that much alike. The fact that they're different genres of the same branch, which is something I'm going to go into for the 5th video that's coming out at the end of the year. But in the long story short scenario for this one, let me just go over why these two acts are more alike than any sort of difference. You take apart anything that comes apart from genre, from personality of the artist in general, and what do you still have? Powerful lyricists that know how to make incredible music that fits the artistry for anyone to find appealing. Nathan Sharp himself has made an abundance of music, good covers, and sort of original music, all of which touch the soul of a good storytelling type genre, along with being something that can hit home for multiple things in rock and roll. And Matty from Mess Music, he's done the same exact stuff for his heavy metal or stuff involving you can make music with blank. Just going headfirst into helping to make any sort of genre-based music impeccably sound in its own euphoric wake, that when you just take apart both the subjects, you still end up with the same core value that you find in a good rock musician. The composition of lyricism, passion, drive, and know-how to make something go from a tiny minuscule melody into a bombastic flurry of good wordplay, good instrumentals, good everything that you could ask for from a song, from an album, from anything that you could possibly imagine. And that's just the basic format of how they're more similar than different. I can go into an entire thesis statement about how they're more alike than different, but unfortunately we do not have time. I am so sorry. Well guys, that concludes episode 3 of Music Perspective, and my god, this took a lot of research. I don't mean to really say it as if it's a burden, but my god, so much music and so many notes would just So anyway, next episode we're going to just first give a small snippet to one of the people we're talking about, who's an oddly familiar face to the channel. And I'll see you guys in the next episode this August. I'll see you all in August.
What if I never